Welcome to the Weather Insights Tropical Briefing. I'm meteorologist Scott Pitney. This also with meteorologist Jeff Lindner. This is Friday, October 24th, 2025. We're taking a look at still Tropical Storm Melissa, but this is expected to become a rapidly intensifying hurricane, expected to be a major hurricane sometime late Sunday into Monday morning. But the real threat with this storm, Jeff, is moving very slowly. And folks in Jamaica are currently under a tropical storm and hurricane watch, as well as Western Haiti. And as you can see, that storm just moving south of Jamaica, currently forecast to move south of Jamaica, but just staying around there. And when storms move that slow, Jeff, and in mountainous areas, that is a lot of cause for concern right now.
Yeah, this is a very kind of typical late season October hurricane in the Caribbean. Slow moving, potentially intense here as we get into the weekend. So far the storm struggled to really develop much in the face of westerly wind shear, but that seems to change as we get into the weekend, kind of drifting to the north today and then turning abruptly to the west again at a very slow rate of motion. And this is the ensemble forecast here for all of the available ensembles we have. So all of our global models, as well as the newly created AI models. And you can see here the dark line is the mean of all that. So kind of passing to the south of Jamaica, and I don't want to focus too much on the on that line passing south of Jamaica. This is going to be a lot of impact on the island of Jamaica this weekend with onshore winds into the mountains, heavy rains, gusty winds, storm surge down here on the southern coast. And then you can see the trough approaches from the east or from the east coast early next week, and it kind of picks up Melissa and slings it back to the northeast. And that actually may be when we potentially see a direct impact on the western part of the island here. So we're talking Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe even into Tuesday with impacts here on the island of Jamaica from an intense hurricane, and it's going to cause a lot of problems here on the island. This is the trend over the last 24 hours or so. So the darker line is the most recent. The lighter colors are further back in time, and so you can see the trend here has been consistent with this westerly turn and then this turn back to the northeast, and again getting very close to Jamaica, also impacting eastern Cuba and eventually the Bahamas as this thing kind of slingshots out to the northeast as we get later into the middle part of next week. And then on the intensity side of things,
Mhm.
again,
Wow.
once we start to see some of that shear let up and we can get that low level
Mhm.
center and the mid level center aligned, we'll see much more rapid intensification. It's the
Mhm.
Caribbean in late October. Water temperatures are still extremely warm down there. And so once the shear kind of lets up, we're going to see this thing kind of take off. And so definitely looking at a major hurricane, possibly up into the category four inches. Could even go higher than that. I wouldn't really rule anything out in the Western Caribbean in late October. So we'll see. NHC's kind of up here toward the upper end of this. What's interesting is that the ensemble, the Google AI ensembles, are very intense as we get into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And so
Yeah.
I believe all 50 of those ensembles bring this up into a major hurricane. And so that's pretty impressive from an ensemble look at Melissa. So big problems coming for the island of Jamaica over the next 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
All right, the other big news is looks like it's finally going to rain in Texas. We actually have some rain going this morning up in North Texas. Here's our big upper low, upper trough carving through the four corners. You can see the trough digging down here into northern Mexico. So this is our storm system that comes across tonight into Saturday night. And it looks like what we're going to get here in Southeast Texas is two rounds of storms. One Saturday morning around daybreak, and then we get a break kind of during the day, and then we get a second round tomorrow, Saturday afternoon and evening. That second round may be conditional a little bit on how the morning round goes. If we get a big line of
Yeah.
storms that kind of zap some of the instability, we might struggle on that second round tomorrow afternoon. But the models are pretty insistent. We get two rounds. And
Mhm.
the good news, this is really much needed rainfall. It looks like it's going to come with enough breaks in it that we're really not going to have a whole lot of a flood threat. We may have some street ponding and some street flooding at times when the rain comes down really hard. But as far as the bayous and creeks goes, it's so dry out there. Most of this is going to be absorbed into the ground. But what's interesting is we've kind of transitioned maybe a little bit away from the flood threat and
Yep.
more towards a little bit of a severe weather threat with both rounds of storms. The one Saturday morning looks kind of bowy. We could get some gusty winds with that again around daybreak. And then that second redevelopment tomorrow afternoon really has all modes of severe weather. So we could initially start with some hail threat up here around the College Station, Austin
Mhm.
area, and then transition into all modes, even an isolated tornado threat down along the coastal plain as we get into late Saturday evening. And so, tomorrow's one of those days to pay attention. A lot of activities, football, all that stuff going on outdoors. You're going to have to keep an eye on the weather tomorrow. Again, kind of bookend the day, early morning, sunrise with one round, then a break for probably a good part of the day, and then a second round coming in sometime tomorrow, late afternoon through the evening hours. And it could be later in the evening, which would be better for a lot of those activities we got later towards, the 10, 11 o'clock time frame.
Yep.
And this is the rainfall amounts. You can see we've kind of pulled back a little bit
Yep.
here. I think it's probably going to be more the 1 to 3 inch, which we
Mhm.
can handle with the dry conditions. Could we see an isolated 4 to 5 inches? Absolutely. But even that, for most places, is going to be fine. Our flash flood guidance for 3 hours is way up there, like around 5 or 6 inches of rain. So we're probably going to do pretty good here on this. This is really a beneficial event for us in most of Texas. Unfortunately, not a lot of rain down here in South Texas, but the hill country back over in East Texas looks to get a good solid 1 to 3 inches of rain for this as it moves through. And by Sunday, most of this is east of us. Not a lot of air mass change with this, no cool air coming in,
Right.
but we're still looking at that midweek front next week to bring at least some cooler air in here. We'll have to see how cold, but some cooler air.
Yeah, models currently showing highs in the 70s starting around Wednesday and maybe even lows in the upper 40s in some places. But yeah, 1-2 punch with this one. Like you said, early in the morning, if you have plans tomorrow, best bet is sometime between, I think, 11 in the morning, 3 or 4, and then hunker down for the late evening round. And then, like you said, Jeff, it's all out of here by Sunday. Not much of a cool down, but if you have Saturday plans, might want to consider making those Sunday plans instead. Jeff, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.